Hello, everyone. J.D. Carlson here with Plan Design Consultants and the 401k Academy. Thank you for attending one of our webinar events for the 2012 series. As always, I want to thank you for your time. I think we start every event, whether live or online, by letting you know that we know that you get invited to a ton of stuff, and time is super valuable, super important. So again, really appreciate you choosing the 401k Academy for part of your education, and hopefully we can repay that favor by giving you some valuable subject matter today. From an audio portion standpoint, you're probably all well aware, you can either connect via the phone or connect using your speakers on your computer. Just keep in mind that if you're using your computer, the strength of your connection will depend on your internet connection. So if you want to use the phone, you should have that information in an RSVP email that was sent to you. All attendees are muted. As I mentioned most of the time, this is not because we don't want to hear from you. I mean, we do. But we're just trying to keep this thing moving along. One of the main goals of the 401k Academy webinars is to get in and get out quickly, allow you to get back to your day, get back to work. So if you do have questions, comments, or something that you need, please give us a ring or send us an email. You've got Tariq Jones, you've got Chad Johansson, you've got myself. If you ever need that contact information, you can go to 401kacademy.com, and it's all there for you. Plan Design Consultants is the power behind the 401k Academy. If you're not familiar with PDC, we're a third-party administrator in our 37th year of business. We have quite a few things that set us apart from our competitors, and continuing to work on things in 2012 and in 2013 that we think will be different and be of value to our financial advisor partners. So if you haven't seen us in a while and you want to get to know more about us, again, please feel free to reach out to us. Upcoming 401k Academy webinars, March 7th, March 21st. Check those out. RSVP for those if they fit into your schedule. Mark your calendars for May 9th. It will be our only live 401k Academy event in 2012. We've gone from, in past years, what were quarterly events to a different strategy, more of a healthy dose of these quick webinars, and then what we hope to be one big, large event chock full of exciting topics and a good get-together. So please mark your calendar for May 9th. It'll be held at the Dublin Ranch Golf Course Clubhouse in Dublin, California. Okay, let's jump right into it. Servicing strategies to win and retain 401k business is the topic for today's webinar. I don't know, may not seem like the most exciting topic when you talk about servicing, because that's the real work that you all do on a day-to-day basis with these plans, but I think it can be exciting, and I think the work side of it can also be very interesting and fun. But we'll try to put on a spin on it today and how you might take that same servicing strategy and increase your chances in the point of sale, and mostly from what we see out there in prospect and point of sale presentations. So quick agenda. We'll cover the basic areas of service in a 401k plan very quickly. We'll talk about service models for retaining plans, which is kind of stating the obvious, but then maybe more importantly, service plans for winning new business. I am super excited to share with you what I think will be some very unique approaches that we don't see financial advisors utilizing that we think would bring value to the point of sale and be very interesting or attractive to a 401k plan decision maker. We will then go over the 3 Academy tools that we'll be sending out to all the attendees today that will hopefully give you some actionable pieces to use on some of the subject matter we talked about today. Three major areas of a 401k service model. I'm sure these are all pretty standard to most of you, but as far as the 401k Academy sees it, there's three major areas when you service a retirement plan. The first of those areas, I'll kind of jump to the middle here. The most obvious one in people's thoughts and minds are the employee education services that financial advisors provide to plan sponsors, your interaction with the participants themselves, whether in one-on-one settings or group meetings and at a variety of frequencies. The second, and I would argue equally, if not sometimes more important area of service would be the fiduciary review. Your service to the committee, to the decision makers on the plan, the fiduciaries on the plan, maintaining investment policy statement, executing some type of fund review methodology with qualitative and quantitative factors, reviewing plan design, provisions of the plan, whether the plan is compliant. We all know of 408b2, 404a5, and all the chatter around transparency and fee disclosure. So obviously a big part of a fiduciary review would be a benchmarking of fees and making sure that your clients understand the fees associated with their plan. You would also use this meeting to develop or define what the employee educational campaign would be for the coming year. Lastly, and probably not done at nearly the frequency of the other two, but maybe every so often, every 2 or 3 years, you do a vendor review. You request for proposals from different vendors, benchmark fees for different levels of service, and by showing your clients that you're not tied to any one specific vendor, this clearly establishes your independence, puts you as an advocate for them, and when appropriate and there's advantages, you may lead your clients through a change in vendor. Let's talk about a service plan for retaining clients, and let's state the obvious. There is no better feeling than having a quality face-to-face meeting with a client, and it is without question the easiest way to retain a client. We would all love to have frequent face-to-face meetings, time permitted, with our clients because that really solidifies the relationship. It establishes it, and it surely goes a long way in terms of retaining. Many times what happens at those client face-to-face meetings is you become aware of an issue or a problem, a fix-it if you will, and you leave that meeting with action items and the chance to show the client that they're important to you and you can jump right on what they need and adjust the program. So obviously, again, telling everyone they already know, a face-to-face meeting is a great way to retain a client. If you're having difficulty getting those face-to-face meetings scheduled, we would suggest using one of those three areas of service as an excuse to have that meeting. Fiduciary review meeting, an employee education campaign, developing, talking about it, and a vendor review meeting, benchmarking fees, services, whether they're with the right vendor. Any one of those could be a great excuse to get together with your client. I would argue that the fiduciary review meeting would be one that you could use, and even if you're having difficulty getting a client to say yes, take kind of a mandatory approach. Let them know that this is something that in the new world of highly scrutinized fees and regulations, and this is something that you must do with each of your clients, and could keep it at a painless 30 to 45 minutes if need be. So, service plan for retention, easy enough. Let's talk now more about how to win business by having some type of documented service plan. Let me give you a simple fact. As unfortunate as it may be, there are a very low percentage of financial advisors, your competition, that are actually bringing a documented service plan to the point of sale. I know this as a fact. Myself, my team have been to hundreds of point of sales over the past few years, and very few do we see a clear documented service plan brought to the table. We're working with advisors now to try to change that, the ones that are with us, but I'm just telling you that your competition is not doing it. In addition to that, the ones that do, the ones that we've seen that bring this kind of game plan to the point of sale, either tend to overcomplicate it or oversimplify it. Overcomplicating it would be a situation where I've seen individuals that have purchased very in-depth tools for fiduciary reviews, etc., and spend 45 to 50 minutes walking the client through the qualitative factors, the quantitative factors, the different measurements, and the paperwork that goes along with it. And I think that that can be a detriment. You're overcomplicating the situation. On the flip side, a one-pager that covers your services is probably not enough. So we need to strike a balance somewhere between those two. Come prepared with documentation. Since your competition's not, come to the table with something that clearly shows that you've built the wheel. You've built the process. You know how to service a retirement plan. It seems so obvious, but it's not being done. This, by the way, is not a colorful brochure of your corporate firm and what you do. This is not broker-dealer paraphernalia, although those things could supplement what you're bringing to the table. What we're talking about here is a real plan of attack for servicing the retirement plan. Secondly, make sure that your process can be modified to fit the prospect's unique objectives. We don't want to go in here and ram down their throat what we believe is the right way to service our retirement plan. What we want to do is show them that we've thought this through, that we have procedures, that we have templates, that we have pieces around documentation, but we're willing to listen to them and their needs and their objectives and tweak our approach to fit theirs. Bottom line is, you want to leave that meeting where the prospect feels confident that they can delegate the success of the plan to you and your process. Let me repeat that for a second. It is crucial to close these plans that that prospect, whether they realize it or not, feels that they can do less going forward. They can be more comfortable going forward if they hire you. One of the key ways they're going to feel that way is if they've seen tangible proof, documentation, that you've thought this through A to Z, and you have an approach to bring to the table. And again, we don't see this happening. And so if the two people before you and the two people after you are not doing this, and you can do it in a clear, simple, easy to understand way, it's going to be a huge advantage for you. If you're not sure how you might do this, pitch, plug, reach out to our team, and we'd be happy to kind of help you define it further. This is what I'm most excited about, to talk to you about some unique approaches, ways that you could go into a point of sale or ways that you could go into a service model that many are not utilizing today. I'm going to kick it off with the first, which I think is extremely valuable, and that would be offering different levels of service for different levels of compensation. Let me define that for a second. Imagine if you could go into a point of sale, and instead of that $2 million plan, you walking in and saying, my fee for service is 50 basis points, you gave that client on paper an offering of 3 choices. Let me give you an example. The first would be the higher level service, and I'll simplify this, but you coming to that $2 million plan and doing a quarterly fiduciary review meeting and doing quarterly employee education. And for that service, you would charge 50 basis points. Now again, I'm simplifying here. We could add many different tweaks and changes and levels to it here. But for a second moderate level of service, you could come semi-annually. You come semi-annually for a fiduciary review, and you do a semi-annual employee education meeting. And for that, on this $2 million plan, you would do it for 40 basis point trail. And then the third option would be an annual, again, simplifying here, an annual fiduciary review. an annual employee education meeting, and you might do that for 25 basis points. You decide the numbers, the different service levels to fit your mode. My point is, as a decision maker, I'm comforted by the fact, I like the fact that you've given me some choice, that I can decide to dial up or down based on my objectives. And we just don't see that happening in our industry today. And if, again, the two guys before you, the girl and the guy after you, aren't offering that, I think if I was a decision maker, you've given me some power. You've given me some choice, and you've made me feel more comfortable with you, because I can choose to match what I want with the fees and services that you're offering me. So think about that. One of the tools we're going to give you today centers around that concept of different levels of compensation for different levels of service. Online employee education. I'm sure many of you have thought about it at one time or another. I'm using this as in a point of sale, an additional bait for you to win a plan. To say to that decision maker, yes, I'll come down and do live education meetings with your employees, but in addition to that, I will also offer some online employee education. Obviously, it's great for remote locations. If you've got a company that's got, offices all across the country, that's a great way for you to be in front of those employees and use technology to your advantage. But I would also argue that you could use it for your typical, one location right there in San Francisco. Again, you're saying to the client, I'll come down, I'll do a live meeting, but then I'll also twice a year, host a webinar for your participants on different subject matter. The reason why this is valuable is because if many of you have been to these clients and you ask them what services they want from you, it's not uncommon for them to say back to you, we don't want you to bother us that often. We don't want you down here every quarter, every month. And so this is a great way for you to kind of compromise and say, I'll be down face-to-face once a year, but I'll supplement that with technology. In addition to that, and kind of dovetailing with the last one, record that. So, we're hosting a webinar here today. This webinar is being recorded. It will then be created into a URL or a link that people could watch. You could do the very same thing. You could record your employee education. It could be several subject matters for that much, and then it could be accessed on demand by employees at that client. Now, again, stick with me here. I'm talking about talking about this type of service in a point of sale so that the decision maker is saying, geez, this person has thought this through. They've got some other solutions that I haven't heard from our current advisor or from the people that I'm also interviewing. So keep in mind, too, that if you were to record a general enrollment education, it's great for new hires. By the way, FYI, if you've got record keeper partners out there or industry partners that are filling this gap for you, great. Utilize it. Talk about it in that point of sale so they're aware that you're using technology to help execute your service model. Lastly, how about sending a quarterly email to your committee, to your decision makers, that's a quick summary. You have the template, it's a quick summary of highlights, quality check of the plan. You add to that whatever methodology you're using for a fund review, FI360, RPIG, what have you, Morningstar, and you're sending that to them every quarter as documentation of fund review and looking at the plan, but you're meeting with the plan on an annual basis for that fiduciary review. Why would you do this? The point is to show them, hey, I'm not going to bother you every quarter. You're $1 million plan with 20 participants. We'll meet annually, but you want to show them that you're doing work. You want to retain this client by sending them in an email a template of this review so they see that you are not asleep on the job and you're actually getting things done on a quarterly basis. Again, position this in a point of sale to show someone that you're using technology, you're using real service solutions that work well in a real world. And then the obvious, if you sell a plan with 75 participants or 150 participants or 30 participants, talk to human resources. Get a list of those employees' emails. And if you're selling ancillary business or you want to talk to these participants on another level, put together a blast campaign. I'm not saying you bother them every week or every 2 weeks. I'm saying professionally and prudently sending them, a monthly blast that maybe covers a topic about their 401k plan, but then also offers some other outside subject matter that they might be interested in. We all talk about 401k being great access to participants, meaning if you make $1 from the 401k, you've heard the people out there say you could make $3 from the other stuff. But that's not going to happen on one live meeting a year or one live meeting every 2 years. It's only going to happen if you put some type of service model in place. And emailing participants is a great way to do it. I mean, there's such easy technology out there. As you gather 1 plan, 3 plans, 5 plans, 10 plans, each with 30 participants, now you're blasting out on a monthly basis 300 people that can use your firm's services outside of the 401k. So something to chew on, something to think about. I'd love to see advisors take that different level of compensation for different levels of service. We've used it with quite a few advisors recently. We've won plans like that because the competition's not doing it, and it just puts that decision maker in a unique perspective that I believe they like. Tools. If you attended the Academy today, we will be sending you later this afternoon 3 different 401k Academy tools. The first will be a retirement plan advisor service agreement template. So we talked about the 3 areas of servicing the plan earlier. This will show you a clear service contract of those 3 areas where your prospects could then choose, or your current clients could choose, at what frequency they would like those 3 areas. Feel free to tweak it. Feel free to throw it by your BDs. And it's a great way for you to come to the table with some type of written agreement about what you want to offer. Different levels of compensation agreement template. We'll send you another template that will show you, hey, what it might look like to offer, through a high, a medium, and a low level of service at a different compensation. And again, I can't tell you how important I think that is to increase your chances of success. Also, we will be sending you a fiduciary review agenda template showing you what an easy 30 to 45-minute fiduciary review agenda would look like. We put these together all the time very quickly for advisors that are being with clients, and something for you to take a look at. Again, all these are just examples, things for us that we've already created that then you can kind of build off of and make your own. So we'll be sending those out to you today. Again, my goal here, and it looks like I've accomplished it, is to get in and out quickly, get you back to your day. I really appreciate it. Looks like we got a good list of people on today. I really appreciate you spending the time with me. So thanks again for that. I hope some of these ideas were unique. If you want to learn more about them, talk to Chad, talk to Tariq, contact myself. Keep in mind March 7th, March 21st, webinars coming up, and save that date for May 9th, dude. We're going to make this a big event. We've got some great partners. We have great food, great subject matter, great topics, and it's just the one time this year that we have to connect with you. We're coming out with some new things, an advisor hub, looking at daily valuation and institutional share class of index funds and ETF offerings that you could offer your clients through PDC. And we'd love to talk to you about those as well as other unique approaches. So thanks again for your time. Have a great week, and give us a call if you need any help. And thanks again.